And welcome to episode number 2 of Bullseye. I'm Darek Sharp with Caylee Cottrell and BJ Daniels. We've got a game to talk about that happened a few days ago, and then one in a couple days that, the Bulls against Alabama will get a lot of our attention. BJ's a guy that's played in a couple of loud stadiums. We anticipate a very loud one at Raymond James this week. Although, this past weekend, it got noisy in there as the Bulls faced a test against Florida A&M, but passed it pretty well. Caylee, you were down there on the field for much of it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool experience.
Man, Ray J was buzzing, and the energy was crazy. It was so fun to be back in that environment, you know, first home game, and I felt it, and it was so much fun. Before the game, I was with the tailgaters, so I was having a ball.
Yeah, let's hear about this.
I had a great time. They know how to do it. They had the whole setup going. They were there 5 hours early, and they treated me well. I got cheeseburger quesadillas, got some steak in me.
Wait. You have my number, right?
Wow.
What time is this?
I'll hook you guys up next week. How about that?
I mean, first of all, we can do food reviews here. We can do tailgate food reviews.
Yep. That feature's coming up in a little bit.
Okay, good. Do you have
a
I mean, obviously it's whatever they put in front of me.
Everything was delicious. Got some Oreo balls, some pulled pork, sliders.
So I'm hanging out with you this tailgate. This game for sure, 100%.
As a player, you obviously did not partake in any tailgating, but does your job now allow you to at least roam around? I know probably not because you're wearing a 3-piece suit.
No, I leave the suit at home on game day.
Okay, good.
But last year actually was my first time ever being a part of any tailgate at all. But this past game versus FAMU, we had a varsity club tailgate. So all the alumni athletes came by, and we had a pretty good time.
Could you drop some names?
Kawika Mitchell. He stopped by.
Guy.
He's a legend. In New York with the Giants winning the Super Bowl, and obviously here at South Florida. But Kawika stopped by with some of his teammates as well. David Thompson, was at Sly Elementary, that the school we went to. So it was a good time.
Part of the show, of course, Caylee does some outstanding video features. Hopefully you guys stuck around for those last week, and I know the tailgate is going to be hotly anticipated. On the field, as we kind of hinted at the very beginning, it was not going to be easy. It never was. I love the offense, BJ, how it kind of came as advertised, especially in reaction to the first 2 minutes into the game touchdown that Florida A&M scored.
Oh, for sure. I was really excited to see how we were going to respond, especially on fourth down. We talked about that and going forward and the vote of confidence that he has in the quarterback, Byram, and the offense to execute. So, it was fast moving, it was fast paced, it was very energetic, and I enjoyed it.
And Caylee, being on the field, you get to hear everything.
Yeah.
Not going to say you get to say everything you get to hear right now, but in general, especially, I want to ask about the defense because everyone starts off with the offense and it's fast-paced. But those guys seem to have a lot of juice this year.
Yeah, no, they really did, and everyone was so fired up, and you can feel it. It is absolutely unreal. The student section packed. They're throwing so much energy down on the sidelines on us, and our guys really feed off that. It's hard not to. So it was a great environment.
I'm going to ask you about your sunscreen situation because for a 7 o'clock kickoff, it's not a big deal, but you do realize the next 2 kicks are at 3:30 and now at 4 against Rice. What's your game plan?
I'll have my sunscreen and I have my bug spray. I get eaten alive by mosquitoes, so sunscreen and bug spray are my 2 must-have on game day.
You know what else bug spray is good for? When you're sitting outside your car when you get a flat tire. I'm sorry, Caylee's been having some bad luck.
I've had the worst.
If you see her, recommend her a good tire changing service.
2 flat tires in like 2 days. But we're here. We made it. Made it to the game and made it here. So
look at her
that's
and
what
listen
counts.
to her. It just flies right off her back. She doesn't care about that. She's great. Now listen, on this show, speaking of great, we're going to talk to Naiem Simmons, you and I are, before we bring him on here into the IPF. You got to chat with him after the game, and he was a big part of the effort.
Yeah, he was. And he was talking to me about how proud he was of the fight of the team, how they dug and really just kept swinging. And you can see that energy. It's a fun team to watch, really, when they play. It's fun. And he was super proud of that. And, his first game in Ray J as a Bull and, the touchdown setting off those green lights. And it was
that's
super special for him and super special for us to watch.
That's something I always anticipate. Of course, during a day game, you kind of have to wait till it gets a little bit darker. But BJ, Naiem is a guy that you wouldn't mind throwing the ball to. As a quarterback, could you kind of assess the Bulls' receiving options? Joffrey seems to be reliable as well, and Sean Atkins just impresses the heck out of me. He did some things that won't show up in the stat sheet.
Oh, for sure. For the last 2 weeks, I think Byram has hit multiple receivers in various spots on the field, whether it's a deep go route or if it's a short bubble screen or if it's a slant even across the middle. So Byram's spreading the ball out very well. I think we're calling plays to get everybody involved. And Sean Atkins, I mean, I have to take my hat off to that kid. I mean, when I was on staff, he was a walk-on receiver. And someone that, probably wasn't at the front of the line. And at this point, where he is today, he's the guy that we're calling his number, and he's creating trick plays and making guys miss on punt return as well.
Yeah, I almost forgot about him throwing the ball. Yeah, it was a lot to talk about. Hopefully we have a lot more highlights coming up this week. We will talk to the head coach. We'll also, as part of this show, as we do every week, speak to a member of a non-football team. In this case, it'll be the co-captains of men's soccer, as Nick Scargle and Sergio Pineros-Mayorga are a treat to talk to. We're going to give you that. Sam Barrington will catch up with the former Bull S.J. Green, who actually caught a pass as a freshman. The last time the Bulls played Alabama, it was in Birmingham 20 years ago. Wow. I was actually at that game, right. And I had forgotten how long ago it was. Time does really fly. Wow. But that game was actually tied at halftime, so we'll talk more about the Alabama game at the end of the show, what your expectations are. But let's bring in the head coach after we look at a little bit of I like to call it, operatic, cinematic recap of the previous game right here on Bullseye.
Welcome everybody to Tampa, Florida, where it is a college football Saturday night and the home debut for the South Florida Bulls hosting the FAMU Rattlers. From the second down, Brown, and in the flat, he's got him! Joffrey Brown into the end zone. Takes his time, plenty of time, gets out of the pocket now, fakes it, and he's going to take off. He's got a touchdown! Second down, here he is. Setting up the screen, it's intercepted! With the football, Jalen Stokes, the safety. Bosa, again standing in. Intercepted!
There's the fifth-year senior Barry Hill, right place at the right time.
South Florida forcing another turnover. First down, backwards pass this time, trying to set it up. It's caught, executed perfectly. Over the top this time, caught, touchdown Bulls. Jason Littlejohn, the tight end. Wilson, quickly does just that. Inside the 10, oh, the ball comes out. South Florida's forced another turnover. DJ Harris has the football. Brown looking to that side again. Byron Brown stays alive. He has got a block, and he struts into the end zone. Here's Musa again, in trouble. Oh, that is a big-time loss. Amaris Brown coming out of nowhere. Here we go, 4th and 6. They go for the long pass, near the end zone. Touchdown, Naiem Simmons. Musa standing in, intercepted. Logan Berryhill, second time tonight. It's the 5th turnover of the game. Right up the gut that time. Musa's gonna go down. South Florida now a play away from putting this football game away. Rattlers again going in the air. This one's tipped. And that will do it. Alex Golesh, his first win as the head of Bulls Nation.
And the Bullseye is on. The head coach, Darek Sharp, here with BJ Daniels and, of course, the head coach, Alex Golesh. We're going to get to this week's game, but first home game, coach, and you've always talked about, overcoming adversity. Florida A&M provided some at home. You had the comforts of home, but a tough opponent. Some yellow flags to deal with, and you guys overcame it with the quick start offensively and just in general. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously awesome to leave with a win. awesome to leave with a home win. I thought the crowd was really, really cool, really into it. And I've said it a couple of times now, but I thought our students came out, which was really cool. I'm super grateful for that. Our team is super grateful for that. Yeah, it wasn't super clean on really all three sides of the ball. But I thought for the second week in a row, our kids played really hard. They continue to play with high-end effort. They're flying around, and that'll give you a chance every time. Now, as we continue to grow within the scheme, certainly continue to grow within the culture of what we're doing, we got to play smarter at times. You had hit on the penalties. About half of those are preventable, and whether it's coaching or simply mistakes within a play, you've got to be better. And so we got away with it in a lot of ways because we caused 5 turnovers and we're able to get a bunch of extra possessions, and it certainly, the outcome was affected by that. But again, attitude, effort, I was really excited about. I think we've got a lot to build on. We've also got a lot to correct. So it's a lot easier to do that after a win.
You got that.
Yeah. One of the guys I was really excited to see get out there and do some pretty cool things was Sean Atkins. I remember when I was coaching, he was a walk-on, and now he's all over the field making some great plays. Can you tell us what he means to the offense to you?
Yeah, Sean is steady Eddie. Like, Sean has been through a lot, like you said, a walk-on that earned a scholarship and has quietly become really a leader on our offense. One of those guys that just does everything right and then gets rewarded with being at the right place at the right time. And so he's a guy that, got hurt in the spring, went through surgery, did everything he could to come back and made it back for fall camp and has been really, really steady. A lot of things he's doing are probably he doesn't get a ton of credit for, but just how he's blocking on the perimeter. He's always there in a scramble drill. Like, he's, again, right place, right time, because he's playing really smart, playing really hard, and has been a guy we can really count on.
And we like a lot of the guys are talking about guys that were receivers in the case of Berryhill. The secondary in general, though, the 5 turnovers, he gets the 2 picks. But a guy like Braxton Clark, who didn't have necessarily stats, but it's because they're not throwing his way a lot. I'm sure you love that unit as well.
Yeah, and that was a unit that you coming in, I kept hearing about how bad we were, and I think they took that personally. I think what those guys have done with Coach Orlando and Coach Rowe and Coach Burkett, like, they're playing with a chip on their shoulder right now. I think the scheme allows them to be really aggressive. Good. And I think they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. I think still young in a lot of ways. Braxton's an older guy, but hadn't played just a ton of college football. You look at a guy like Berryhill, who's an older guy who hadn't played a bunch of football, but Logan's done that since the day I got here. He's roamed the middle of the field and was one of our best guys in winter workouts, was one of our best guys in spring ball, and like, man, you get this big, long guy that can run in the middle of the field, like, he's going to be something. And so that's right now a direct reflection of how those guys have worked, and that's been a group that has had to develop confidence, and right now they're playing really confidently, which is cool, and add Day to that group, and and Stokesy got himself his first career pick. Like, I think they're all playing with this really, really cool swag and this really cool level of confidence that you have to play to go play back there. And so I've been really impressed with those guys.
Day, and you mentioned the aggressiveness, and AB got let loose, as you're talking about. And then you bring up a guy like Stokes. It seems like every week you talk about a player and their journey, and people might not hear it. And I'm like, wow, that's something else. Schuler last week as far as the snaps. And then Stokes, when you said it, I had to double check. Didn't travel last year, and now he just seems like a big leader on the team. And that's no small feat, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jalen was a captain for us last week, and here's a guy, that didn't travel the week before. To be honest with you, the year before, I didn't realize it. He started the game against Western Kentucky for us, and somebody had brought it up to me, like, did you know this is his first start? I was like, I knew it was his first start, but he wasn't on the travel team last year. Like, man, and he's a captain week 2. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of youth. They're learning by going through it, but there's not a better way to learn than than actually being out there and playing. And I think when you have success while you're doing that, it just creates a level of confidence that you can't replace. You can't really coach or teach or try to fake hype a guy. Like when you're making plays, you know it, everybody knows it, and it creates a real confidence.
One thing that we noticed in this game, again, and I know you love your punter. I do too. He's a great punter. But you don't necessarily want to send him out there going for it on fourth down in places that might be deemed risky or not for you. Is that something that has always been your approach, or now as a head coach you're unleashing it kind of?
Yeah, it's a game of possessions, and it's a game of opportunity to score points. You know, you try to be really, really smart and calculated. You know, I think a lot of it has to do with how your defense is playing. I think a lot of it has to do with feeling like you match up the right way in a certain situation. Fourth down is one of those. You know, we spend a bunch of time talking about fourth downs and you know, being uber aggressive in it. I think as you build a program, these guys, I'm talking about our players and our staff, but understanding that you're going to be uber aggressive in everything that you do. We play offense the same way we play defense. It's aggressive. And so we've got certainly mechanics. You saw us be able to steal one there on fourth down that are built in to try to go do it. But I would never do it and put our team in harm's way if I didn't feel like we had the right play at the right time. But it's a game of possessions. You can't score if you don't have the ball.
That was the 4th and 4 where Byram, I guess, was the intent never to actually run a play and punt if you had to. And were you good at that, BJ? That's a skill, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
Drawing the other team
drawing the
offside.
other team off sides. But it's also pretty cool because going forward on fourth down and a coach to kind of push that into the team, it definitely instills confidence, especially for the quarterback. You know, so that's a pretty cool thing to continue to do.
No question.
One thing that, as you are in the Bulls Club, BJ, let me ask you something. Does a $25 million gift from Tampa General Hospital count towards your goal, and what is your goal now?
I mean, it helps a lot. You know, we have a $30 million goal this year to go towards the stadium. TGH obviously contributed $25 million of that, so we're way more than halfway there, but still have a lot of work to do. You know, what does that mean to have a hospital, you know, in that type of organization back this university in athletics and what you're also trying to achieve moving forward?
Yeah, I think really, really big time. I think it just shows that there's a real commitment. I've always felt like there was one. Came here with the thought that there was a huge commitment. One, to getting a stadium built, to get an operations building built, but really to building an athletic department second to none in the country. And it's obviously one step towards that. Super grateful for that. See if anybody else can throw another 25 in before the end of the year.
Of course.
I know you got a lot of friends. Now let's go ahead and get to it. This game, I know you haven't been looking ahead, but now it's there. Before we get into the actual what happened with your team last year, does this week of practice take on more intensity? Do you have to feel the need to push them, or are they already there?
Yeah, you know, that seems to be the hot question. I think it's a huge game because it's the next game. And I know I sound like a coach when I say that, but one, I am, and two, it can't be any different. Like it's all got to be about us. It just has to be. And I don't know if that would change if we were in year 10 of a program, but it has to be us being the best version of us and our process being our process. Like Tuesday has to look right, Wednesday has to look right, Thursday, Friday. I think every week presents a different set of challenges in terms of what a team is doing schematically, but every week also presents a different set of challenges because these are 18 to 22-year-olds that are going through life and school and relationships and family and all these things. So my biggest objective for them is for their process to be as perfect as it can be when it comes to football, when it comes to life, when it comes to school, when it comes to their relationships, like all of it. And so I think if you hype something up more than something else, I think you're creating inconsistency in their lives where all you're ever trying to do is create consistency within their lives. So is it a big week? It's a huge week because it's the next one. There's no secret to the fact that it's nationally televised. We're going to have an incredible crowd. It'll be a really cool college football environment. But at the end of the day, it's the next opponent. Our process Sunday had to be right, Monday had to be right, Tuesday had to be right, so on and so forth. And we got to continue to pound away at our process. And then at the end of the week, we'll earn the right to go have real confidence, like actual confidence, to go have a shot to go win it. And so that's how we're attacking this week, and it'll be exactly the same next week.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great approach. I mean, I've played in big games here at USF, and the coolest part is that even being in the Super Bowl, I watched, Russell Wilson, and they prepared every day as if it was the same game. And you're right, having everything else in life balanced and doing it the right way, it'll make Saturday a little easier to go out and execute. So, commend you for that.
No question.
Now, last year, Tennessee beat Alabama. There's always crazy games that happen every week in college football. I love keeping an eye on that stuff. 52-49, a lot of yards in that one. I'm not saying it's going to be like that. Was that one of the craziest games you've ever been, if not the craziest one you've been a part of?
You know what? That question's come up a lot. Yeah, it was an interesting game because I think it all kind of fell into place, and by that I just mean it was a culmination of a really good week of practice. It was a culmination of our guys being really prepared. And then I think the proudest part of that game a year ago, at least as I look back at it, was we never panicked. Our guys truly always believed that they could win that game. And really, I should rephrase that and say we expected to go win that game. And bigger than other games, I think it was a huge moment there because it was the first time in 16 years that Tennessee had beaten Alabama. But for us, at least for me personally, it was how it ended and how we were able to just meticulously stay stay balanced, and be able to attack. I thought that part was probably really, really cool. For me personally, the coolest part about it was the fact that it just hadn't been done in a while, and it was a year and a half worth of hearing about it and hearing about it and hearing about it, and it was a culmination of a lot of things. Then you woke up Sunday, you had to go get ready to go play Georgia, so it was short-lived.
Coach, saw what before the game, you're greeting your family. It was so cool. I just got to ask one question. Are you getting ticket requests from extended family that you'd forgotten about this week?
You know what, nobody calls me during the season, so you'd have to ask my wife on that. But that part, I had a bunch of family up in when we played week 1. I had my parents and my brother here this week,
Awesome.
This past week. I think just my kiddos are at a really cool age where they're going through it with us. Those moments to me are are almost cooler than anything else because of what they've sacrificed. I mean, I've drugged them throughout the entire country, and so when I see them, I'm so grateful for them, for my kids switching schools again, my wife packing a house, unpacking a house again. It's more than anything, I'm so grateful for their sacrifice for me and our staff and all of us to be able to do what we love to do. So those moments are just, I don't know, not to get too sentimental on it, but they're grateful moments for me.
Alexis, Barrett, and Corbin, ABC. It's all making sense. It's going to be a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right.
I've never heard that before. That's good. That's good.
Well, it's because I just thought of it. Hey, it doesn't have to be 52-49, whatever the score is. Hopefully the Bulls are on top. Best of luck, and thanks for your time again,
Yeah,
Coach.
thank you for having me. Appreciate y'all.
Bullseye continues with Naiem Simmons next. Back on Bullseye, Derek, Caylee, and Naiem Simmons, our special guest this week, Mr. Touchdown, number 6. Actually, I saw number 1 at Wagner last year, so did you change to 6 because that's, how many points equate to a touchdown? I don't want to assume these things.
When I had got here, my good friend Chaffrey, he already had one. So it was sort of a thing now you got to pick something else. So I ended up with 6, and it grew on me. At first, I didn't like it, but after going out there and scoring 6 points, it's hey, 6 equals 6. So,
Makes sense, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, your first touchdown in Ray J.
Yeah.
singing the fight song at the end, high-fiving the fans on the way out. Your first experience as a Bull, what will you remember the most?
You know, I was asking Sean or something if they were going to turn the lights out after he scored. And then I think Byram had scored before I did, and he turned the lights out. So I was like, oh, like, I never, like, this is new to me. So then I had scored, and they turned the lights out. I don't know why. That's something I was really looking forward to. Kind of a weird thing.
No, it's good.
But that, and then celebrating with my teammates is definitely something I'll remember, because they all came down. And, you know, the time on the clock, the dagger for the win. So that's going to be real special to me.
One thing about it, it was 4th down, which, first of all, doesn't seem like you guys hesitate to go for it on 4th down. But at that particular part of the game, it was a big 4th down because FAMU had just scored a 7-point game. So you look like the guy to go to in the clutch. And I know you just mentioned Chafre. You got other guys that can be that guy, but it seems like you're comfortable in that role.
100%. I've been making those plays for a long time. Last year I had 50 catches, so I played a lot of football. I've been in those moments a lot, and you know, I just thank the coaches for trusting me in that situation, because like you said, we have 3 other guys out there that's great, that they also have played a lot of football. So for him to call that play for me, because, you know, matchup and obviously trusting me, big thanks goes out to the coaching staff and the offensive coordinator.
Absolutely. And also, prior to that, you made a couple of good 3rd down plays as well. You mentioned 50 catches last year at Wagner. Big time production. People don't know, and I got to admit it, I'm from Tampa Bay, and I just assume everybody knows Tampa's here, St. Pete's here.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows that. I thought it was in New Jersey. Tell people where it is. I know you're from New Jersey. And what was it like, your experience there?
Staten Island, New York, and it was good. You know, because I went to prep school. We had played Wagner, and after that game, they had offered me, and that was the only school that had actually offered me. So went there and enjoyed my time. You know, it's not the biggest school, really small school. Don't have a lot, but the bonds that I had with the guys there, you know, I still talk to them today. So that's really what I grabbed from there. Learned a lot, and then when I left there, coming here is just things that I've learned back home, back at Wagner. It's nice to give those other people, like my other teammates, the same things that I have learned.
Nice. One of the guys that is your teammate now said that you had everything to do with him coming here, talking about Doug.
Yeah.
And can you confirm that story? And then secondly, tell people more about him, because he talked about you last week.
Doug, he's a great guy. I've been knowing him since Pop Warner. He had gave me a call saying that he was talking to one of our coaches down here. Told him it was a great place to be, especially for me coming from where I came from. Like, this is glitter and gold for me. Like,
nice.
I wouldn't rather be nowhere else. So, you know, I was telling him how I felt about it. Ended up getting him to come up here for a visit. I was his host, and I just showed him everything that I enjoyed when I came here. You know, I showed him all the facilities. I came around here at nighttime.
Smart.
You know, just showed him what it is and how it is living down here. When he came down here, it was definitely way warmer than it was in New Jersey, so that stood out to him. But yeah, Doug's a great guy. Knew his mom. His mom really wanted him to come here. She always would pull me to the side throughout the week and like, make sure Doug come here. Like, please make sure he comes here. Like, I want my son to come here. So yeah, it was a big win for her, and obviously it was a big win for us to get him here.
The culture of this team seems so strong. Do you guys feel that too?
Yes, 100%. I think once everyone got here and everyone started to gel, we started to become more like a brotherhood. We break it down on brotherhood, we break it down on family. And a lot of that has to do with, you know, lifting together, being here together all day, practicing, competing every day. Then we did a few things, as you know, in the off season, like go on Adventure Island and things of that nature. So everything sort of worked itself out as far as gelling together. This is the most of a team that I felt that I've been, because I've been in college for 3 years, obviously. So yeah.
I heard
Amazing.
that. Is he a good singer too? He's not asking you to do
You
it.
know what? At the beginning of the season, I got him to sing a little Usher for me when we were talking about go-to karaoke songs. What was your go-to before the game? Do you have a hype song? What were you listening to?
No, honestly, it's just shuffle. Whatever,
I got you.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like to just tune it out, catch some balls. Me and Sean have this little pregame thing where we go through a few routes. So yeah, really just shuffle, just anything that really comes in mind. It could be hip hop, it could be R&B, anything that really kind of soothes me at the time to get me really locked in. Because you are going to war with the 100 and something guys that we have on the team. So just anything to get me in that moment, in that mode, to go out there and just compete to the best of my ability.
Nice.
You were talking to me after the game about how you guys kept swinging and kept digging. How proud are you of the way the team was able to execute?
Super proud. That's what Coach Golesh has preached. He preaches going out there, playing your hardest every play like it's your last, because you're not guaranteed another one. You don't know what happened on that play, so just going out there and blocking and running your routes at the full speed and making the plays that come with you, because obviously as a receiver, you don't get the ball 90, well, we play 90 plays, you don't get the ball every play. Right. So just going out there and doing your job to help everyone else do their job is it's kind of what we preach around here.
Your buddy Sean had some nice plays too. I'm telling you, it must be awesome working with him. Now listen, I looked at Wagner's schedule the last couple of years. You guys did go to some places like Syracuse, like Rutgers, like the Eagles Stadium. Yeah. But this is Alabama. You didn't play them. How much does it mean, not just to you? I'm sure you're excited, but the whole team. Give us the vibe.
Honestly, we just look at them as another team. You know, another team on our schedule. Really don't care about the name, obviously the glitter and glamour. But to us, they're just another team that's in the way of our goal, you know, where we want to go. So when they come in here, we're going to play them like we played every other team. We're going to have the same intent. Our process is getting better, and we're just improving every week. When they come in here, we're just going to treat them like any other team.
Well, one thing that won't be like any other team is the crowd at Raymond James Stadium. It's probably going to be as big. If it's not an actual sellout, it's going to feel like one. So that's something I'm sure you guys are looking forward to.
Yeah. I know for me personally, I'm looking forward to it. I never had that many people, you know, be in the stadium. So.
And your family too, maybe?
Yeah, my parents are coming down here. They're super excited, especially my dad. He's had this circled on his schedule. I keep trying to tell him 1 week at a time, like, you need to worry about this week. But he likes to jump forward, like, oh, you know, so.
All right, so Dad, you're allowed to have it not say any other team on your calendar, but it's Alabama. And thank you very much for being our guest, Naiem Simmons. We'll continue with Bullseye next.
Hey, this is Sam Barrington, and we're back on Bullseye. I got a special guest today, obviously very, very necessary for this week, a guy who actually had a catch against Alabama when the Bulls played Alabama back in the day. Ladies and gentlemen, S.J. Green. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, Sam? What's going on, brother? It's good to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm pretty good, man. So you're a guy that, you know, I wanted to talk to personally because I feel like more Bulls fans need to know your story. So if you can, just tell us what life has been like. Obviously, we only got a limited amount of time. What has life been like since you left USF?
Man, you know, a lot has transpired since I left USF. You know, I left USF. I had an open tryout for the CFL coming out right there at USF campus. And we had an open tryout with the Montreal Alouettes, and I was able to do enough to prove myself. And I made that roster, and I stuck around, and I was able to play in the CFL for 13 years. And, you know, that was my opportunity to play pro ball, and I embellished it. I relished the opportunity and had a blast doing it.
Nice. That's amazing, man. What contributed most to your longevity in the CFL? I mean, I only got 5 in the NFL, and I felt like it took an arm and a leg for me to get that done. So how does a guy go and accomplish 13 years in professional football?
Well, I mean, if I'm being honest, man, a lot of it came from my foundation at South Florida. I mean, Jim Levitt at the time, you know, we were a gritty team. We were hardworking. We were going to get after it. One thing we were going to be able to do was work hard. We weren't going to get outworked. And that kind of relished with me throughout my time in the CFL, you know, and it actually helped me because I realized that a lot of guys weren't really on my level, or I'll say on our level in regards to our work ethic. And how we went about our business. And that really carried me through my career and actually set me apart in ways that other guys, I feel, didn't either take to in college or they didn't get it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a great perspective. Can you talk about some of those things, or talk about maybe a pivotal or key moment during your time in Canada that you can kind of reflect and say, you know what, if it wasn't for what I experienced at USF, I probably wouldn't have made it through this moment, whether it was a special moment, a special play, an injury, a transaction, or whatever the case may be?
Well, my first 3 years, my first 2.5 years in the CFL, I was on the practice squad. And my time at USF, I started for 4 years, but I wasn't a very big part of the offense. I wasn't a very big part of the success of our team from a standpoint of productivity. And, going to the CFL my first 2.5 years, I didn't have much experience, I'll say, catching the ball and being in games and doing those things. There's a lot of special teams, a lot of grit work, and a lot of the heavy duty blocking was my responsibility. So, going to the CFL and not playing my first 2.5 years, it taught me a lot of patience and perseverance. Things that I learned going through the processes of USF, but not really being involved how I felt like I should be or wanted to be. And so that patience and perseverance is what got me through my first 2.5 years in the CFL, because I honestly felt like I should have been playing, my first couple of years up there. But the reality was, I needed time to develop. I needed time to mature. I needed time to learn. And, my time at USF going through that notion of not being who I thought I was, or not being able to contribute how I wanted to, allowed me to go through the process of not being where I wanted to be in the CFL those first 2.5 years as well. So that kind of carried me through mentally through that process.
Yeah. Now, I know you say you didn't contribute a lot, but there was a key moment that you had in the Alabama game. And that was a game where USF really had an opportunity you guys were in the game for a decent portion of the time. You had a catch during Alabama. Walk us through that play from beginning to the end, and how that's something as a memory that's still stuck in your mind today.
Well, I remember the play. I don't remember the play call, but I know I had a post corner. And I can't say I ran the route the most efficient, but when the ball was in the air, Ronnie Banks gave me an opportunity it was on the catch on their sideline versus their All-American, SEC All-American, and Charlie Pepper. And he threw it up, and I was able to make a play. And, in my mind, I thought, man, this is the beginning of, me being able to be the guy,
Yeah.
It didn't work out like that. But, I mean, I tell you what, man, it gave me a lot of perspective on the game of life and football and perspective in general, because, you can put everything into football, but, football loves nobody, and it has no guarantees. And so it taught me to cherish every moment that I have and, appreciate the moments, because you never know when they're going to come again.
Yeah. Well, SJ, just like a lot of things that have transpired in your own personal life and your career, which I'm so proud to call you a fellow alum, and congratulations to all the things you've been able to do. But just like a lot of things that's transpired for you, a lot of things have transpired at USF. What do you have to say to Bulls fans right now in 2023 as we continue to go out and continue to grow the program, obviously, which you had a key part of laying the foundation of?
I mean, one thing I would say is that, let's just keep grinding. Let's just keep working, keep building the foundation one brick at a time. It's not going to be an overnight success, but we know the history of our program is built on hard work. It's built on grit. And, I think these guys have a great opportunity in front of them to continue to bring our program back to relevance. So I would just say, man, come to the Bay and be a part of greatness, man, in the making.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, man. It's really great to see your face and talk to you. And I definitely look forward to seeing you at some games this year. Ladies and gentlemen, SJ Green won the great prize of our university. Thanks again.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate the opportunity, man.
Wow. Okay.
There's steak.
Okay, you take one too. You grab one too, though.
Of course, I'm a popper guy.
There you go. Cheers.
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 Go Bulls. What do you think?
Delicious.
Repping the South, okay?
Oh yeah.
South
Oh yeah.
boys.
Wow.
You like?
Way to go.
Appreciate it.
That's killer. Right on. I love that.
Football is back, and Bulls Nation could not be more fired up. I'm Caylee Cottrell, your Bulls insider, and today I'm crashing some tailgate parties and taking you through all the excitement. What does a USF tailgate look like to you?
USF tailgate is involving all of our friends, everybody from the USF Twitter herd. For me, it is food. I bring and I cook as much as I can for as many people as I can. But it really is just seeing everybody that we only see 6-7 times a year for USF football games.
You know, the sun's shining, first of all, because we're University of South Florida.
That's right.
And so it looks like family, friends, and then everyone just rocking the green and gold. If you got green and gold on, you're part of the tailgate, and we like to keep the grill going hot.
We usually show up right as the gates are opening. So by the time all of our friends are showing up, we are already set up and ready to go. I will normally start grilling about an hour and a half in. That way I can clean up and be done by the time we're ready to head back into the game.
What are some of your must-haves for a USF tailgate?
My must-have is my Rocky cup.
There we go.
Because we love Rocky, and Rocky's the man.
Yep.
My second must-have is, like, you gotta have, like, your friends and family, because that's who we are as USF. We're family. And then we gotta have meat. We always have meat on the grill. Today we had steaks, we had porchadas, we had tacos, we have it all.
Obviously food, music, and drinks, and camaraderie.
What food do we have cooking up today?
Today we have cheeseburger quesadillas with my spicy mayo sauce, some diced pickles, tomatoes, and lettuce.
What's your favorite part about game day?
Favorite part about game day is seeing everybody get excited about the team, everybody come together.
Can I get a go Bulls?
Go!
Bulls Nation will be back out in full force this Saturday for our matchup against Alabama at 3:30. See you there.
And we are back on Bullseye with two very important members of the men's soccer squad, in fact, co-captains. And we wanted to do this at the heat of the day just to make it as realistic to a soccer match and how much these guys go through as possible. I'm Darek Sharp with Nick Scargle and Checho, Sergio, Pineros. Now, listen, first of all, I know the story. I vaguely remember the story, how you got the nickname Checho, so I'm not just going to have you retell it. I'm going to guess and tell me how close I am. I think he was a football manager that somebody in your family was a fan of named Checho.
No, no.
All right, tell the story again then.
Yeah, so all the Sergios in Colombia are nicknamed Checho. So
that's what I meant.
Yeah, so since I was born, my parents have been just calling me Checho. Obviously, when they get a little more serious, they put the whole name Sergio. But so then that just trickled down to my family and friends throughout my whole life. So.
And since it seems like everybody should have a nickname, I guess since your actual name, Nicholas, is Nick just your nickname, or do you have a hockey nickname like Scargs or something cool like that?
Usually everyone addresses me as Scargle by my last name. And my coach Bob, has little nicknames like Skits, Scargs, Skittles. A lot of the USF camp members that come here in the summer, they know me as Coach Skittles.
You know what? I don't feel close enough to call you that yet, but maybe by the end of this interview, we'll sign off with Skittles. These guys, like I said, very important members of the team, but co-captains. So rather than ask you what makes yourself a captain, I'm going to do the right thing and have you brag on the other person. So we'll start off with you, Checho, this guy that you came up with, Scarks.
Yeah, no, I mean, he just, he shows it on the field, and, he's a good role model to other guys also off the field. Just how he carries himself, and he's he really shows his passion towards the game, and he just it wears off to us, the other guys.
And I see you, just the way you orchestrate things off the field, even if it's not a game day, it seems like you are a take leader sort. I might have to ask you to address that without bragging on yourself, and then you can brag on Checho.
No, I just try to carry myself as professionally as possible on and off the field. And going with Checho, last season he was the only captain that we had, and for him that was a big responsibility, and he took it right by the head of it, and he leads by example since growing up. Since he's older than me, he's always led by example with me, and he has the right attitude, right mindset to be a leader. And Bob emphasizes that Checho's probably one of the best leaders that came through the USF program. So yeah.
So they are, they would know each other as far as since they were growing up because you guys played for the same club. 1 year apart, but Checho, you being slightly older, take us through, not just, you didn't just show up on South Florida campus knowing how to play soccer. Talk about that youth part of your experience with him.
Yeah, no, I mean, first, it's actually a funny story. Since I'm older than him, we started out like U9 or U10 probably in like Palm Harbor. So then at one point, my team, the older guys, like the coach looked down to an older team, and he was actually on the older team because he just wanted to be with his brother.
Oh.
Yeah, so then once our coach saw that he was an 01, he was like, no, you come with us. And so we had a good group. So then once he came down, he was like mad and like he was sad that he left his brother's team, and like he already had like friendships over there. So then he like didn't want to, but then once he like started hanging out with us and stuff, it just clicked, and then we all ended up going to his house like for a long time. Every year we would go to his house and they just play like around like the neighborhood and stuff. So
did you get over it pretty quickly? It sounds like it.
It took me maybe 2 weeks, a couple of trainings. I just had a conversation with them, and they're super welcoming when I was little. I was just super nervous because I've never been away from my brother with sports. I've always played next to him.
So if my twin brother Jason is watching this, sorry Jason, as I'll announce to the world, we didn't want to ever be on the same teams. It's just a completely different experience. Now, as far as back then, were you a defensive player? I'm guessing not, because in soccer, not everyone gravitates towards that side of the ball. When did you start with you, Checho, a defensive standout? Because it's not the glamour position.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, like, starting up, everyone's a forward. I was, like, a forward winger. I always wanted to score goals, be the number 10. But then once we started to get into, like, more competitive soccer, I went to right back, and it's been right back ever since, probably, like, since U10, U11. Took on number 3 also for, like, just my dad. He was number 3 also in his career.
Very nice.
And then I just, stayed with it.
And then center back all the time for you, Mr. Skittles?
Actually, when I came on the team with Checho, I was an outside back and I was a left back. And then as we got older, like more players on the field, I got moved to center back, and I stayed there ever since.
Now, captain, you have to wear an armband. I want to hear the story. I only see one armband out there a game. Is there a wrestling match before? What's the situation? Do you trade off? Explain to people that situation.
No, there's no wrestling or nothing. We know, we're both the captains, we're both the leaders. There's more leaders on the team. Yeah. But I think just like, since me being it last year, I just start off wearing it if I'm on the field. And then if I come off, I give it to him. If he comes off and I'm not on, then we give it to the next one in line. But yeah, it's just, just something that in professional soccer, you see only one armband, it's not, 2 or 3 on the field at the same time. It's not usual.
It's an honor, and the preseason, as we're mentioning some of the other guys back there, Brian Schaefer and even Luca Holenstein were able to wear it as well. Now, we just spent all this time talking about how you became defense pretty quick. Let's not insinuate that you can't score a goal, because, and you're going to get yours soon enough, Nick, but Checho scored the most impressive goal just from a power and impressiveness standpoint. And we got to talk about it. It was against Memphis last year. It was from about, I'm sure it's gotten longer now, it's about 65 yards. But realistically, first of all, how long was it? And considering you never score a goal, was there any hesitation? I mean, did you go, I guess I can shoot this? Take us through it.
No, yeah, I mean, it just came out. I was in the right spot. I got a good touch, and honestly, like, I just looked up once, and I don't know, I heard in my head, like, my dad's voice, like, hit it. Nice. He's always telling me, shoot more and stuff, so be more aggressive. And, like, at the time, like, it was senior night. Like, I don't know, there was just so many emotions. It was just a great night. We were already winning 1-0, so I was like, why not, And it hit it. It felt right, and, like, right when I hit it, I just, like blanked out. I saw it go in, and then I was just like...
I had a very similar experience as a broadcaster. I almost blacked out as well. Yeah. Now, when it happened, had you seen anything like that in practice from him? And are you next?
No, actually, you'd be surprised. Checho hit some serious shots in training, especially when we do like 5-a-side or bread and butter. That's what we like to call it. But yeah, he hit some shot like that, but not that far away. Yeah. But that was pretty far away. I was right behind it when it happened too. So I saw it travel all the way to the corner of the goal.
Now, on this show, Bullseye, the football game that's coming up is the Bulls against Alabama. I'm not going to quite say that you gentlemen, are playing Alabama every time out this year, but your schedule is incredible. Even teams that might not stand out on it are NCAA tournament type teams like Elon and Mercer. Then you have your conference schedule. When you saw it, what was your reaction? And going through it, Checho, how much do you guys enjoy a schedule like this?
When I saw it, I was just like, whew, this is going to be fun. It's going to be nice. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be hard, but, you know, it's always nice to play those games, you know. You don't want to just, you know, go through the motions with, like, just average, you know, normal teams, but we like a challenge, and, you know, we want to compete against the best, you know, to show that we can also be up there.
Same thing with you?
Yeah, he said mostly, yeah. It's just exciting. It's an opportunity that we get, and a lot of eyes are watching on those big ranked games that we play. So it's a chance to prove ourselves and show that we can hang with the big names out there.
And based on last year, making the NCAA tournament, you had to come up with big results against teams like that. We have to mention last year. I know it's past in the past, and you want to maybe duplicate or go past it this year. But what did that mean for you guys?
It was a big moment for our team because we only had 2 guys on the team that were actually made it to the NCAA tournament their freshman year, which was Checho and Sal. So our whole team was very foreign to the situation of going to the NCAA tournament, even going that far in the AAC championship playoffs. So we were all new to it. The experience was new, and I think we learned a lot from what we went through this past season.
All right, we're going to wrap it up with a couple of fun ones, a couple of quick hitters. Doesn't have to be one-word answers, but that is the realm here. First of all, I saw you guys in Washington and then against Indiana with the gold, with the green numbers. What is your favorite kit right now? Because you guys got some options. I'm a big fan of the dark green.
I think my favorite now is the white, the all white. It's just, you know, new design, looks a little fresher.
Especially on days like this. Answer the question first, and then I got another quick one.
I would say for me the gold one. I don't know. I like the gold. I think it sticks out. It's new. Like no other team has it, so it's nice.
Okay, on a day like this where it's a little warm outside, do you guys at halftime get to go in and change uniforms? It's a very important question.
Oh, 100%. Like me, I sweat a lot, so I change my cleats, my socks, my insoles. I go out brand new, feeling good, nice and fresh.
Makes sense. True halftime break. If you have a cheat food, which soccer players all look like they're in shape, what would it be, Checho?
A cheat food? I don't know. Probably.
I was watching, bro.
Yeah. No, I would just go for like some ice cream. You know, nice.
Bob's watching.
Yeah.
No cheat food for you, Skittles, or do you have Skittles?
I definitely have a cheat food. It varies based off after the game, but I like McDonald's fries and McFlurry. So.
Yeah. That's a daily food for me if I could. And then last thing, if there was another sport you could play, since this is a football and other sports show, do you think you'd be successful at any other sport, and what would it be?
Oof, I don't know. I mean, I've only played soccer, to be honest, my whole life. So I don't know. Sometimes I like to go out and like play tennis with him and some of the guys. But like competitively, if I would be good, I don't know, honestly.
I could see you guys on the tennis court.
Yeah.
Is that about it for you?
Oh no.
No.
I grew up playing football, like American football, with my dad being my coach my whole life. So I did that competitively before soccer. And
Not just a kicker?
No. I played wide receiver, running back, linebacker, safety. I did it all growing up.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I also played competitive tennis, USTA tournaments when I was little. So yeah, I enjoy playing a lot of sports. But if I had to choose another sport, I would have stuck with tennis right now. So I feel like I'm fairly good at tennis for not playing for so long. But yeah, also pickleball. I love pickleball.
Yeah, he's actually really good.
Okay.
You should have seen him. You should have seen him grow up playing football. We would go to his games, and we would just watch him, and he would be like hitting people, juking them out, like everything. But he played all the sports, to be honest.
All due respect, Nick, but that impresses me more than pickleball. Although that's another topic for another day. You guys are great at the sport you play. Keep it up, and thanks for being my guest here on Bullseye today.
Thank you.
No, thank you for having us.
Thus wraps up another episode of Bullseye. Really enjoyed bringing it to you. Again, we hit first every single Thursday, and hopefully next week we're talking about a monumental victory against Alabama. First of all, the tailgate situation. Can you give us a sneak preview? Have you heard, Caylee, what it's going to be like this week?
I mean, I can't wait. They were talking to me about smoked chicken with Alabama white sauce. So they have the whole rest of the season planned out. They have menus and they're ready to go. So I will be there.
Alabama white sauce basically is mayonnaise, by the way, but for some reason it's much more delicious than that makes it sound. Trust me, I know a little bit about barbecue sauce. BJ Daniels, you know a little bit about playing in front of big crowds, and how loud the stadium's going to be this Saturday. We can't wait to hear. So, for those of you guys that just know him as South Florida, he played for a team called the Seattle Seahawks, and is famous for getting loud there. Try and explain. I'm sure it's top of the list, right?
Yeah, Seattle, in my opinion, has to be one of the loudest in the country. You know, and the ground shakes. We could stand right next to each other, and I have to yell at you and scream in your ear just for you to hear me. But it's definitely something that we use in Seattle as an advantage. You know, false starts is something that's something we tally, which is a big deal, and the crowd gets pumped up. You know, to try to create confusion between communication with the offensive line and the quarterback. You know, so those loud stadiums actually they make a big difference in communication, and it's definitely a detriment to the offense as well. It helps the defense. So,
here's a dumb question, probably. Does anyone have an explanation for why it's loud there? It's not like there's 185,000 fans.
Well, yeah.
Is it the acoustics you mentioned?
Yeah, a little bit. So the way Seattle Stadium is set up, there's actually overhangs over just the stands with the field being open.
Okay.
So when the sound goes up and hits those overhangs, it comes right back down to the middle of the field. So, yeah.
Wow.
All right, got to ask you about your Bulls playing experience as far as opposing stadiums go. What's as loud as it got, and how do you guys overcome that? Because let's hope Alabama has to do the same thing, and unsuccessfully this week.
Yeah, well, playing at Florida was definitely loud, and playing at Florida State as well. Notre Dame not as much because it was kind of a bit open, but you just have to be very careful in what you say and how you say it. Don't fumble your words when you're communicating. Kind of animate some of the things that you're actually saying to the offensive line as a quarterback or to the receivers, and just really pay attention. Just pay attention to the sideline, what's being signaled. And know your assignment. I mean, you don't have the opportunity to say, hey, run a slant. You know, now you actually have to know what you're doing and execute. So it definitely makes a big difference.
Be careful of what you say and how you say it. Sounds like a broadcaster's credo as well.
Right.
And again, that's what we want the other team to have to worry about this week. So Bulls fans make a lot of noise, except when we're on offense. Caylee, I mean, listen. You're used to covering games. Is there? And I know we heard the coach say it's just another game.
Right.
And I know we heard Naiem say what he said. But let's be honest, that's a good approach. I have a feeling that at 3:30 on Saturday afternoon, it's going to change a little bit.
Right.
Does your approach change a little bit? Are you feeling different this week? Be honest. Or is it just another game on your sideline reporting?
I just cannot wait for the energy in there, the fans, my tailgaters before. I can't wait. The camaraderie that they have, and the joy and the energy. It'll be something else for sure. And my approach, I haven't thought about it that much, but
I'm sorry, it's going to be there.
I know. I can't wait.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
BJ, are you getting that vibe around here that is different?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm excited. At the same time, I've been in that situation, but now I'm on the outside, and I'm just absorbing all of it, taking advantage of the opportunity that's being presented. My family's coming in town. Nice. My mom's side is actually from Birmingham, Alabama, so they're all coming in town just to experience this as well.
Wow, a lot going on this week. We love presenting it to you here on the new show, Bullseye. Check us out next Thursday. We'll be recapping Alabama and previewing Rice. For BJ and Caylee, I'm Darek Sharp. Thanks for checking us out. Go Bulls.